certifications that's out there. And I'll briefly go through these and the difference, because sometimes we get a little mixed up. We can get a little mixed up with some of the acronyms, or as I call them, the ABCs. And of course, if you have any questions, please put them in the chat, and I'll take a look at them. And if if I'm going to touch on it a little later, then I'll let you guys know. So there are federal contracts and certifications. There's state and local certifications, and then there are certifications, minority certifications, that some organizations that they do that has been accepted by the federal government, right? So the 8A, this is a really great program. This is a program that allows a company like we'll say M&M's. Okay, I'm gonna use M&M's a lot, y'all. It's the food that built America. That's Lowe's fault. All right. What you do is, so if you're in the market, or if your business is dealing with any type of candy, or maybe you have like cupcakes, anything on the sweet side, then a company like M&M could be your mentor. How exciting is that? Now, granted, they have to be a part of the program. There's a lot of large companies that are part of the program, so you would have to research that. But not only do you get the expertise of that billion-dollar corporation, you do have to share some of the funding, but you don't have to share all of it. But it's like, once you get it, you got it. So it's huge money in 8A, and it usually takes about a year to actually get that certification. So somebody asked them, like, and it's not a silly question, Jillian, does the government only work with American companies? That's a yes and a no. It all depends on what exactly you are providing to the government, but there's a lot of opportunities within the UN working with the government. But I know a lot of it is that you do have to be an American company or within the US. There are some special qualifications for that. But for me, I only work with clients who are within the US, okay, or Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands, all right? So, like for Amy, so Amy says that she does cotton candy and sweet treats. Guess what? M&Ms would be great. She would put a spin on it, like, I do X, Y, and Z. I have a WBE certification. There's a contract out there to go ahead and supply treats for an event, okay? Again, there's a lot of collaboration with some of these certifications. The next certification is HUBZone. So HUBZone is pretty much where your business is located or who you employ, and that's pretty much having a business in a place where it's considered as a disadvantaged area within the United States, or employing disadvantaged employees. And these employees have to be W-2 employees. They're not 1099 employees, okay? The next one is for vets. So for vets, either service disabled or veterans, small businesses, I'm telling you guys, this is just a great opportunity. They really have a lot for the vets because they want to give back. So if your spouse is a veteran and they haven't started a business, let them start a business. The money is out there. I do have to say, for all of these, that each person has to be, the main person has to be at least 51% of their business. There is no like 50-50, like if you're married and it's like, so my late husband, he was a veteran, and of course I'm a Black woman. And if the business was 50-50, we couldn't have done the business as a veteran-owned business or as a woman-owned business. It has to be 51% or more. But if you're like going in with your sister and you're a woman of color, then it would be minority, Black-owned, woman-owned business. So things like that. So that's something to think about if you haven't decided the percentage of the business. Also, with all of these certifications, you have to be in charge of the finances. You have to be in charge of a great deal of the everyday operations, the day-to-day operations, along with the hiring and firing. If you're saying like, oh, I owe 75% of the business, but you can't take money out of the business account, and your husband's is taking money out of the business account, guess what? He's the owner of the business. You're not the owner of the business. So they really, really take a look at that. The government really takes a look at who has the financial control of the business and the operational control of the business. That is the person who controls the business. The other one, the next one is the ED, woman-owned small business, which is economically disadvantaged woman-owned business, owned small business. And so there's different stipulations for that. Pretty much for the ED part, that you can't be making more than $350,000 a year within revenue. And then if you just want woman-owned small business, then again, that one's $750,000 a year. And there's more schematics in there, but pretty much, are you a small business? And what qualifies as a small business, it all depends on what your specialty is. So if your specialty is like, for mine's is administration. So with mine, I know what my NICS codes is. And I will be happy to send you guys a list of the NICS codes. This helps to get you across all of these certifications. There are some NICS codes that will make you fall out of the certification, some of these certifications, if you don't use these NICS codes, all right? And maybe you don't need a woman-owned business, maybe you just want to do the veterans part and use a special NICS codes. All of that is fine. So it all depends on what type of business you have. So because I am within, like I said, training, so my limit is for the next 5 years, my business as in revenue cannot make over $21 million. So that brings me out of this particular program. If my business, again, they add up all of the 5 years and then they divide it by 5 and it's over $21.5 million, then I can no longer have that certification. Now, if you're in transportation, you cannot have more than 750 employees. So you can have 700 employees and you could be making $50 million. Okay. So you really need to know, what is the tolerance of my business? So that's really, really great. So what I love to talk about, you'd be like, Michelle, you keep saying that. What I love to talk about is the DBE. DBE stands for Disadvantaged Business Enterprise. This is for any minority that the United States is a minority. And so that is a Black man, Hispanic man, Asian male, female. Again, this is across the board, Black female, Black male, a white woman. So any women, again, you fall under the disadvantaged business enterprise. One of the things I do want to absolutely explain is that one of the things is that there are 2 MBEs, so minority business enterprise. Sometimes you guys may see this. And so when you see this, the MBE, minority business enterprise, there's one in the government and there's one down here in the organization. And so with that, any person of color can apply for the MBE. You have to be considered as culturally a minority to apply for that under this, the National Minority Supplier Development Council, okay? And you do pay an annual fee. The one for the government, the MBE, that is for any woman of color. So if you're Black, Latino, Asian, Indian, then the MBE is yours. If you are a white woman, then you are, you have the WBE, okay? You'd be like, Michelle, why did they separate it? Because people were playing unfairly, so there was what they had to separate it. And sometimes you'll see it combined together, the MWBE, so they're just putting it all together, all right? Then there's also another WBE, and it's sometimes called WBENC. And that one is, again, you have to be just a woman. And so with that one you have to go ahead and, again, pay an annual fee for that. You have to pay an annual fee for that. And there's some other criteria very similar to what the government is talking about. And so the next one is the ACDBE. If you want to work at the airport, a lot of times if that's the only place you want to work, you know, you have a service that you want to work at the airport at, or a product, then this is just a great certification to have. And so I just mentioned just right here a couple of the state and local certifications. So sometimes this can get sort of muddy. So under the DBE, you get the MBE and the WBE depending on your state. Sometimes they look at it a federal certification. Sometimes they look at it as a state certification. It all depends on your state, and it all depends on your region. Again, like I said, it can get tricky. But so I'm certified. So I have over 40 minority certifications, okay, throughout the United States, all the way from California to Vermont, okay? So, so with that, with those different certifications under the state, so this one is the Commonwealth of Virginia. So under Virginia, I was able to get 6 certifications under Virginia, okay? So if you work in Virginia, this helps to engulf the whole state. And if I could never get this unless I actually lived in Virginia, but I was able to get it because I had my DBE in the state of my home state. And then I went ahead and wanted to become DBE in the state of Virginia and other states. The same thing. So if you guys live in Illinois, there's something called the Business Enterprise Program, the BEP. You can apply for that separately, or you can go ahead and get both of the DBE and the BEP, okay? And then that way, it's all one and done. It's done and over with. And the same happens with Texas and North Carolina. So all of these, there's a whole lot more, but I don't want to, bore you guys, but there's a whole lot more of certifications that help you win contracts within the state that you live in and the region that you guys live in. All right, so I do have one question here. What was the certification for veterans? The certification for veterans is SD, which is Service Disabled, Veteran-Owned Small Business, or VOSB. So of course, from the military, you have to have that designation. If you don't, then you can still apply as the VOSB.